Hey, what's up guys, TheJordude here, back again with a Shadowverse video. Today is a very special day because I finally got a card to reveal for you guys. It's been a really long time. I think it's been like maybe 2 years since I had my last card reveal. So yeah, I am very excited because this card is very cool, very interesting. I think there's a lot of uses for it, and it's for my main class, Forestcraft. So yeah, I'm very excited to reveal this card for you guys. This is of course for the Fortune's Hand mini expansion coming out later in the month. So without further ado, let's get into the card. I got my fancy slideshow here. And bam! Here it is. Life Banquet. It's a 3 play point Forestcraft golden spell card. The effect is draw 2 cards. And if at least 2 other cards were played this turn, summon a Furious Mountain Deity. And if at least 8 other cards were played this turn, summon 2 Deepwood Anomalies. So yeah, and I also have the Japanese name for it and the Japanese translation for all my Japanese viewers out there. Before you drop out of the video right now because you got the card effect, I'm going to be talking about decks that I think this card could be used in, and just what my general thoughts are for this card. So yeah, but first of all, you guys are probably wondering what the heck is a Furious Mountain Deity. So that is actually this card. It actually came out quite a long time ago. I believe it was Omen of the 10. It's a 4 play point, 3/4 bronze Forestcraft follower, enhanced 7 gain +2/+2 in rush. But that part's not relevant because it's not going to be gaining the fanfare enhanced 7 off of the Life Banquet. Instead, it does have the strike though, strike gain +1/+0, and then if you evolve it, it has a 5/6 stat line and strike +2. So of course this is just a very average follower, but you're going to be getting it on your board for free if you play 2 other cards with your Life Banquet, in addition to your draw 2 cards. So it's actually very good tempo. And so if you didn't know what a Deepwood Anomaly is, it's this guy. It is quite a legendary card. It's a 8 play point 8/8 legendary follower. It has the leader strike, so when it attacks the leader, deal damage to the enemy leader until the defense drops to 0. So basically, it just one-shots them. It's an OTK when it attacks the leader. So if they're at 20 health, it's going to do 20 damage. So Deepwood Anomaly has been a meme card since like forever. It was never really played competitively. There was one deck that was able to play it, and that was in combination of White Wolf of Eldwood and Swiftgate Okami. But yeah, it was a really inconsistent deck, kind of a meme deck. You wouldn't really play it, you'd rather just play like Roach all the time. But Deepwood Anomaly, off of the Life Banquet, you're getting 2 copies of this on your board if you combo 8 or more cards with the Life Banquet. So if you have 2 of these big 8/8s on your board, it's going to be very hard for your opponent to remove both of them, and then on your next turn it just attacks your opponent's face and you win the game. So let's get into some initial thoughts about this card. First of all, when you look at what Life Banquet does, 3 play point Forestcraft spell, draw 2 cards. If you look in the collection of Forestcraft, they actually have a very similar card known as Harvest Season. Harvest Season is also 3 play points, draw 2. And it also has an additional effect where if you play 2 cards before the Harvest Season, it gains a bonus effect, which is you draw an extra card, so you get to draw 3 cards. So very similar with Life Banquet, where if you combo 2 cards before it, you get a bonus ability. However, I do think Life Banquet is strictly just a better card. Sure, Harvest Season, you could draw 1 more card, but a lot of the times, I would say 90% of the games, you actually don't need to draw 3 cards off of Harvest Season because your hand space is going to be so big. Usually Harvest Season is played in control or combo style decks, and so your hand size is already going to be so big, and by drawing 3 cards off the Harvest Season, especially if you're playing in like the mid game where it takes up like a lot of your play points on your turn, you're going to have problems managing your hand size. However, with Life Banquet, you're always going to only just be drawing 2 cards, which I think is just the right amount for when you're playing control or combo decks. And now you're also going to be gaining a 3/4 Furious Mountain Deity, which is just going to be a lot better in terms of board presence and tempo. So now I want to talk about some decks that I think Life Banquet could be used in. First of all, let's talk about rotation. So right now, decks that you would be using Life Banquet in are pretty much decks that you would be using Harvest Season in. So the first one that comes to mind is Roach Control Forest. So here are two lists that I have for Roach Control. On the top, you see just kind of like the more traditional Roach Control Forest that we've seen for a long time with the Natura package. And on the bottom, we see the more modern Roach variant, which is using the Accelerate package, which got a lot of support from Fortune's Hand. So I think Life Banquet is going to replace Harvest Season in both of these deck lists because you can make use of the draw 2, and you're going to be benefiting a lot more with the Furious Mountain deity as compared to the extra draw from your Harvest Season. The third ability of Life Banquet, where if you combo 8 cards to get the 2 Deepwood Anomalies, it's not really going to be a viable option with Roach Accelerate Forest because you're not going to be able to play that many cards on one turn. However, with the Roach Control Forest with all the Natura cards like Fertile Aether, Traveler's Respite, and Awakened Gaia, you might actually be able to get a combo 8 with the Life Banquet in some situations. So a deck that I brewed together where I'm actually considering Life Banquet as your main win condition for the deck, with the Deepwood Anomalies as the finisher, is going to actually be Natura Force. So Natura Force has a lot of cards where it adds to your combo count on your turn, and cards like Natura Alchemist is going to be able to reduce cards, so you could play a lot more cards on one turn. And so ultimately this deck is going to be kind of like a control deck and try to get your Life Banquet with 8 cards played on one turn as soon as possible. So the main cards of this deck that I have in mind are going to be Fertile Aether, Spirit Shrine, Springleaf Sprite, and Natura Alchemist. So Fertile Aether is essentially one play point for 2 cards played on your turn, because the Fertile Aether after your 5th turn is going to recover your 1 play point, and then you can also play the tree with it. So it's 2 cards for 1 play point. Spirit Shrine has the ability where it adds 1 to the number of cards played this turn, so that's 1 play point for 2 cards played. Springleaf Sprite is essentially 2 play points for 2 cards played if it's just played on its own, but if you have natural cards already on the board, then you're already going to be plussing cards for your play point costs. And finally, with Natura Alchemist, of course, it's going to be able to reduce your Natura cards, making them cost like 0 or actually gaining play points in the case of Fertile Aether. So it's going to be a lot easier to set up for a Life Banquet comp. This also kind of makes sense for why they buffed Latika. Of course, with Latika, they buffed her Send and Packing spell to be 3 play points instead of 4. So it's essentially going to be 3 play points for 3 cards played this turn. So as you can see, Natura has a lot of cards where you're either paying 1 play point for 1 card played on the turn, or you're paying 1 play point for more than 1 card played on the turn, and that really just adds up so that you could get Life Banquet out as soon as possible. So a really insane combo that you could do if you have the right hand is on turn 6, you could go triple Spirit Shrine, so that's already 6 cards played, and 2 Fertile Aethers, and that's going to be 8 cards played, and then your remaining 3 play points is spent on the Life Banquet, and you're going to be able to get the 2 anomalies out, you're going to get the Mountain Deity, and yeah. And by turn 6, your opponent is going to have a really hard time dealing with both Deepwood Anomalies, so you should just be able to win on the following turn. Okay, so I just want to talk very briefly about what this card could possibly do in Unlimited. So I think with Unlimited, they do have access to cards that will give you 0 play point followers. So cards like Aria Guiding Fairy and Flower Fairies is going to be able to give you Fairy Wisps. And Unlimited also has access to a lot of cheap spells and followers. So you're going to be able to build decks where it has a lot of cheap stuff, so you could probably combo the Life Banquet pretty early as well. However, in Unlimited, the meta is always generally very fast. Either people are playing very fast aggro decks or very fast combo decks that could actually one turn kill you very early. So with that kind of meta, I think Life Banquet is not going to be as good because it's trying to play a deck that's more slow and more greedy and trying to set up for a big combo turn, and I don't think it has that much time to set that up, so it's going to have a hard time in the Unlimited meta. So what do I think about this card in the long term? I think this card is going to be a staple for multiple Forest decks. Forest is always a class that is playing either like a control or combo variant deck. They do have like aggro decks or some decks like Terraformer that wouldn't need Life Banquet. However, this card is very easy to use and it's very splashable. You could put it into a lot of different forest decks and you'll be okay with it. There's also the possibility that in the future, Forest gets even more cards that they could just add into their combo count, either by card effects that increase the number of cards played on your turn, or you get a lot of cheap play point cards that you could play. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with this card in the future. And overall, I think it's a really great card. Personally, I would probably give it like a 4 or even a 5 out of 5 stars, because I think it's just such a solid card for Forestcraft to get. And yeah, that's it for my card review video. Please comment down below what you think about Life Banquet. Do you think it's a good card? Do you think it's a bad card? What decks do you think this card is going to be used in? Or what ideas do you have where you could utilize this card to the max? So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more Shadowverse content. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.